in the district where the road is located, so he has to make a motion to either grant or deny the petition. And the petition, just bear with me one second, I've got so many papers. Jeff Faulkner is one of the petitioners. Russell will show you, you have a map, don't you, Russell? Prepared? Huh?
I do have a copy of the tax map from that.
Okay, but it will show the portion of the road being sought to be vacated. I'll refer to the engineer to show you the action, just so you have a visual. But if you turn into the dirt road off of the paved road, Miss Sonia Steele lives right there, and the dirt road runs along her property a good distance. And she did not evidently consent because she's not signed to the petition. So the petitioners, Jeff Faulkner, Joseph Connor Wood, Joe C. Wood, and Sandra Wood, Faulkner owns the abutting land all the way back to the back of the road where it stops. This is a dirt road. And he's asking that the vacation begin or commence where Miss Steele's property line along the road ends. And we've had, that's not uncommon, we've had several petitions over the decades that asked for a portion of the road to be vacated. And the Woods, Mr. Faulkner bought all of that land at, I guess back in the spring, but been a fairly recent purchase. He then sold 2 acres and the personal residence in a deed to the Woods. So they are abutting at the end of the road as well, so that's why they had to join in the petition. So as far as our research shows, all necessary parties that needed to sign the petition, meaning abutting landowners that own land touching this road, have joined in the petition and it's been submitted. And the petition meets all of the statutory requirements. That's part of what my job is when we receive these. We have provided personal letters required by statute, personal notice by certified mail and ordinary mail to Ms. Sonia Steele, and all of the utilities that the engineer's office provided us who use that road or have utilities located on the road. And then we provided the statutory required 30-day notice minimum, and it's been longer than 30 days, but it took us, the way we schedule meetings, we had to go out a little bit, but the once a week for 4-week notice was published, and so we've met all of the statutory requirements to go ahead and proceed with the hearing. So I'll ask the engineer to add anything. I think it'd be important, and I've got one, but I mean, if you want, I didn't know if you wanted to have any input into
Yeah, I do have a copy of the.
showing
Yeah.
the road.
If anybody needs it, it's the copy of the map that the petitioner includes in the petition, which adequately shows the location to be vacated. If anybody needs to see that, I can bring it up to you. But otherwise, I think Alan covered everything better than I could have, so.
Well, I think it's important you see it, so, let me just show you real quick. This is the entire road. I'll show you.
I see that drawing
That's partial that runs by this steel, there's a
Right.
road. So it commit, there's, that is yellow, asking to be vacated.
Yeah, look at,
Have you seen, you're familiar with it? Commissioner Harris, you do.
yeah, I got it running.
That's right, I called it, that's right. I know, yeah, that's right. Commissioner Wright, you need to see. The entire county road, 1159, starts here and ends here. This is Miss Steele, who did not join in the petition to vacate that part. So Mr. Faulkner, who has acquired this, and then the Woods bought that from him, this 2-acre rectangle, they've joined in to just do a partial, because they want to provide, as I understand it, and I'm not advocating them, we don't take a position as the engineer and attorney, you know, who's right, who's wrong, we just bring forth information to you, but their rationale is in reasoning, which I'll let Mr. Thomas speak to when he makes his presentation, is they're sitting back there on a dead end, what amounts to a dead end road. And they like, you know, now they have a residence occupied, equipment, barn, and they just really want to put a gate on, as I understand it, security. And safety and protection is the reason behind it. Did you need to see that?
I got to see one.
And that's all I have. Russell, do you have anything further?
I don't have anything to add.
Mr. Allen, would it be your intention to turn the floor over to Mr. Thomas?
At this time, it'd be Jim's opportunity to speak.
I don't know that I really have anything to add. I think everything that can be said has been said. It's being requested to be closed for security reasons. The road, as Mr. Jones pointed out, it's a dead-end road. It actually dead ends at the Wood residence. And I think there's a lot of equipment and implements, things of that nature that they want to secure. And that's the primary motivator behind it. And the Woods are on board with it, Mr. Faulkner's on board with it, and I think we pretty much rest on that.
Just to the other commissioners, I've been out to the site twice, have looked at it with the owners, with the engineer, took the maps and matched them up to what they're asking for, and it, you know, be one less small section of a road that we would have to maintain that really doesn't serve a purpose but for two people, and they're asking for it to be closed. So it does not, Alan and I have exhausted in the past week, we're content that it does not negatively affect anybody, any of the neighbors, anybody else on the road, and that it would just be approving a request made by the two people that the road does service. So we'll, if
I will
Mr.
ask Jim, they intend, just for everyone to know full disclosure, they intend to put a gate up, or else they wouldn't serve any purpose by vacating the road, isn't that?
My understanding is they'll put a gate up where it closes at that point to secure.
And that would not encroach back up on Miss Steele's property. They're gonna, it'll be where her property corners or maybe even a little farther.
That would be correct.
Okay.
It would not be in any way impede her use of the road at all.
All right, well,
That's all.
okay. Well, if that's all, we'll let this rest until the business meeting, and we will proceed with the rest of our normal business meeting. I would, before we go into the recognized TCU, I'd like to briefly, I know Judge Bunn has had something come up that he needs to present to the commission, if you'd like to do so, sir, at this time.
I appreciate it. Gentlemen have a lot going on today. Now I'm just going to do this. I think I've spoken with at least a couple of y'all previously. We did purchase the electronic poll book for the election using the money from the CARES Act. course of doing that, we realized because of the way that our precincts are created, we weren't able to provide the books to every precinct this last time. So in order to do that, after going back and speaking with our vendor, it looks like we were gonna need 15 more along with 4 more routers in order to make it all work out. We requested additional funds for 15 new pole pads, the 4 routers, which would allow us to have more than one at a location, as well as 63 SD cards, because even though you can go buy at Walmart, in order for them to be able to be used in those machines, they have to be certified. The ones that are certified through ES&S, we requested those as well, and the reason being, that would allow us, if, in the course of an election, during the day, if one of those machines was to completely fail, having that card inside of it would allow us to be able to get the information out of it, even if the machine was completely broken. So, as a security measure, it's not a contract issue, but we did, I'm gonna leave, I've got copies of the additional contract for the 15 books and the 4 routers. I've got one for each one of you, one for Alan, one from Mackenzie, and I'll email her as well. And I've got a check that pays for the whole thing, which should make it easier for you. So,
Yep.
Do we need to take action tonight to get
it does
this?
have
No,
to
no.
happen tonight. That's why I wanted to leave the stuff in case anybody had any questions.
Okay.
You don't have the action no more.
Let y'all take a look at it whenever we put it on the next agenda. You can vote on it. There's no hurry other than, I don't like having $21,000 checks in my office any longer than I have to. And we want to go ahead and get that part of it handled before the end of the year.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
I'd also like to, for the commissioners and everybody present in the room briefly, I'd like to recognize David Morgan, who's our new E911 director. He's taken over for Chris Dozier and is going to be assisting the community in that role moving forward. So, glad to have you here. All right, we'll, at this time, I'd like to recognize TCU Consulting Services and let them begin their presentation to the commission.
Thank you, Commissioner. As you know, both the architect and our contract require that as we move through the steps of the process, we come to you for your permission to move to the next step. We've already approved the jail schematic design, and we've been working on the design development part, and we're finished now, and I'm gonna report on that. And we're gonna ask you that you give us the permission to move forward to the construction documents. We're actually already way on down the road with those because the DD and then the delay of this meeting, we just had to keep moving. So you're not really approving any dollars tonight. We're not asking for that. What we're asking for you to do is to acknowledge that we're finished with the design development phase, and now we're finishing the plans to get them ready to put out for bid. Same thing on the EMA, except for that we're at the first step. We've got the schematic design done, and we're asking to move to design and development. And I don't want to detail with that. But I'm gonna start with the jail. The good news is that the schematic design budget, construction budget that you approved several months ago is slightly less, but we're showing the program budget the same, because none of us know what's gonna happen to construction, prices, material availability, all of that. And we don't wanna be a low bidder. We don't want any surprises. We'd rather be surprised to the downside than take the number down at this point. So what we're asking you to do is to approve the move from from design development to construction documents at the same exact price that you approved the move from schematic, which was in your budget. And it's roughly the construction for the jail, renovations of the courthouse, existing courthouse, the court facility, jail logistics building, $39 million. Right now, we're sitting closer to 38, but we're not taking the total number down to that because we just don't know what material deliveries and construction prices are going to do right after the first one.
Question,
Yes, sir.
question.
Yes, sir.
I heard you say renovation of the existing courthouse.
Yes, sir.
When did that get in there?
Well, we just have some dollars in there. You don't have to do it. The thought process of our original program included your offices going back down to the courthouse from right here.
We have not, you would be
Well,
correct.
Papa, this is my first time hearing that,
Yeah,
you know.
we just carried it as a line item, Commissioner. We haven't spent one dime on it, and not even tried to do any drawings yet. We'd have to come back to you for that.
Okay, all right.
So what we'd ask you to do on the jail tonight in your meeting is approve the document move from design development to construction documents. Current schedule shows that we're gonna bid this thing in January. We have a list, solicitation out for interested contractors right now. We intend to pre-qualify them. And that timeline, Tommy, is in the middle of December?
Yes.
To receive those, and we'll be bringing you our recommendation of the contractors that we recommend could bid this project and successfully build this project. There'll be some that we probably won't recommend, and we'll ask that that be identified to you in executive sessions, but we got a lot of interest. This is a perfect size job. There are a lot of contractors that need work, and unless something happens dramatically due to material prices or material shortages, we're feeling really good about the opportunity to have good, tight, competitive bids on this project. Not only, I will say that from the schematic to now, we've made several changes. We have a book that we're gonna leave with McKinsey to give to each other, if you can read up on it. But our last meeting with the sheriff, he has a trend to needing more maximum security cells than medium security. So we've made that adjustment. We've made an adjustment to the, for Albot's comments about the entry on the 29. Been a lot of changes, but minor changes and no real cost impact, because the architect has done a good job that when cost has begun to escalate, to find other areas where he can tighten this program up. We feel very good that right now, we moved from schematic to DD and DD to CD. There's been no change in the budget.
Have any commissioner have any questions for Mr. Upchurch?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
On the EMA project, we've just started on that, and we're asking that the move be from schematic design, which is very preliminary, to design development, which means we meet with all the user groups again and begin to hone in on exactly what the schematic design means. We've met with all user groups. Lee Moore, back in the back, is our consultant. He specializes in doing 911 in call centers. He's been very helpful in this. Currently, the design for the building itself, heated and cooled, is about 12,600 square feet. And then there's some exterior coverings over some equipment yards and that sort of stuff that takes it up another roughly 1,000 square feet. It's a really interesting layout. You'll see in your package the relationship to the jail complex. It's sort of to the very back of the Dunbar site. And it leaves plenty of room between it and the jail facility for any increase or expansion of the jail or any other use that you might have relative to corrections. It's a very similar design to some other projects that Lee has done that have worked out very well. We're currently meeting with the new EMA director, 911 director, to get his input. He's a little new to the game, and we need to get him up to speed, and we'll do so. But it's a very tried and true design, and I think you'll be happy with it when the time comes. We're still working on the budget for that, targeting 5 million plus was the direction that we were given to design and build within, and that's what we're doing. And with every project, we're trying to bring that down. So, again, this is the move from the very early stages into the design development phase, requiring our contract architects. So we're not actually putting any dollars, any design or anything at this point, but we have those in the packages for your use. If you have any questions when you take a look at them, please give me a call. I called Commissioner Harris by mistake Saturday and woke him up. I was trying to call Charlie Harris, my insurance agent. But at the end of the day, y'all all have my cell phone and know how to get in touch with me.
You have any, no questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we'll move on with our normal, check our time here.
Yeah, you got time.
If I could get the engineer to give his report, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good, how are you? We have just a few items under new business. We have 2 items. We have 2 items, project update and equipment. We're going to just forward equipment to your next meeting. We have some information for you then. Under project update, I did want to point out a couple of things. At the time that we drafted this report, we had not heard yet for the from the CDBG, from ADEC, from the CDBG award, but of course we have now been notified that we were finally awarded the block grant to resurface 7749 and to pave County Road 2256, so that's great news. Just as a reminder, we had that project in the CTP for next year, so we'll be coming back to you pretty soon with a proposal for you to revise the CTP for next year. And we'll put some needed research and work in there. And one other thing, if you look at the page 2 of that monthly project update that you do your due package, under the HRRR program, we have been very fortunate. We were awarded projects over the last 2 years of that program, and so that's been reintroduced again this year. And we submitted an application for some edge lines on several roads. They're all listed there, and then also there was unshaded bridge on one road. And we were actually awarded the bridge guardrail project, but not the striping. And so what our plan is, if there's no objection from you, we're just going to add most of those edge lines to our existing resurfacing contract. There's a little bit of additional space in there along for that, so we just add those to that, all except 7702 and 7708, and then 2262 and 4442 not being paid for. So then moving to down to current business under personnel, we have a recommendation for 3 hires, and also we have a resignation in there, along with a request to advertise in-house for replacement of that, or to fill that vacancy, that's in the EA1 position. And I believe that is all we have, other than the template of everything.
I got a question. I've been noticing you advertised vacating spot, but you had a part-time worker work for a solid year. Why you couldn't move him up?
Well, we have several part-time employees that,
But this one been there a whole year.
you may be referring to a temporary part-time employee that we have. And, any part-time employee, anybody who wants to, I guess, be considered for any vacancy in our department, as you know, by your policy, you have to submit an application and go through the whole hiring process. So you can't just move anybody up like that. So we take all the applications and we sort through those and do our interviews, and we try to recommend the most qualified candidates to you. So that's what we've done here. So any further than that, I don't really know how to speak to that issue.
Anybody have anything further for the engineer?
So I know we waited a long time by ribbon stuff to get it here. And I understand you got kind of a partial crew teams, but you got that on that.
On the EVET team, we did, they made their first visit, and we have not received a written report from them yet. But, you know, we did get, their suggestions verbally, so we went ahead and started working. They have to, a different group has to come back for a structural evaluation on a couple of them. But we actually opened the War Creek Bridge on 2253 today. That's one that,
That's when you place the dirt over,
Mhm.
correct?
correct.
All right.
Yeah, that's been moved, and it's now open for traffic.
Is it limited, weight limited still?
I think the signs are still up for that, but we're probably gonna remove those. I think we've done what we needed to remove that
Okay.
limitation now. And then next week, you know, we'll do the same thing on Kelly Road at the Demon Creek Bridge.
Okay.
And, we're also, hopefully next week, now those are, two of the, we actually have 5 roads closed until today, so now we have 4. Next week, we're hoping to get another one of those open, bring that down to 3. And then hopefully, what we're hoping to do is by the end of the year, have all of those 5 roads open, except for 6618, which is gonna be a more, it's probably gonna end up being a contract project to make those repairs or replace that structure. I'm not sure yet what we're gonna do there, but, so that's our plan. And then on the other 3 that are, have been load posted because of the, you know, stability issues caused by the scour by Hurricane Sally. Of those 3, one of those, like I said, will, on Kelly Road, we'll address that hopefully next week, and we'll be able to resolve the problem there. And that will leave 2 other ones. One of those, we're gonna attempt to repair with county forces, but it'll be after the first of the year. That's the one on 3239 new district. And the other one on 3316 will probably have to be a contract project. So, but I'm working on a list with all those right now to kind of give you our estimated timelines on addressing those. So give me a day or 2 to finish putting that together, and I'll email it out to you.
33, 39. No, 33, 16.
Right. Yeah, and unfortunately, that was gonna have to be a contract repair, and, you know, it's probably gonna take a little while, but we'll keep moving forward.
Where are we on FEMA help with all of this? So if you wouldn't mind giving us a brief rundown of what of this do you think was going to be, I mean, roads, the road issues we've had, these bridge issues, how much of that's going to be applicable to reimbursement through FEMA, and how much of this you think we're going to have to be prepared to take out of next year's road budget to deal with now? I mean,
Well, I think the vast majority of the FEMA work, we've already, you know, repaired all of the dirt roads except for the few that are still closed with the, you know, large pipe blowout. But, you know, doing it that way, we get reimbursed for our own labor and equipment. And so we're not expecting any out-of-pocket cost on that. So really what it boils down to is if we have to do it by contract. And so right now, I don't foresee that. The contract projects would be, those are on major collections, the 2 that I mentioned. So those would be FHWA, ER projects, and, you know, there would be a 20% match required on those. So we're not sure yet. We don't have good cost estimates on those. So, but we'll be presenting that information to you.
thank you. Any more questions for the engineer? Thank you, sir. The EMA director have a report now? Anybody have any questions for the EMA director? All right. Attorney's report?
No report.
Under Commissioner report, we do have an executive session tonight for good name and character that Alan McKenzie has been apprised of prior to the meeting.
And that has been submitted to me and explained the reason for the good name and character in executive session, and it needs that exemption, in my opinion.
Administrator's report? I'm sorry. Yes, at the end of the, business meeting.
Okay, under my report, the first item is the E911 board appointments. There's two items I put in there. One of those, it's on there just so that it can roll down to current business. As you all know, there's some appointments that'll need to be made in January. And so for that portion of it, it'll roll down to current business to move forward on. But also today, I received an email from Mr. Willie Wright, the city manager of Brundage, and he had put a copy of it in front of all of you. He has requested that because Chief Moses Davenport was not reappointed, that he would like to ask the commission to appoint their interim chief of police, Mr. Lieutenant Charles Mack Wilson, to serve on the E911 board until they have a replacement for Mr. Davenport. I don't have any questions.
Question on that, will they have you guys have a meeting between now and next meeting?
Our next meeting is December the 14th.
Our next meeting is December 15th.
Question, that appointment have to be the chief of police of Brundage. So we just wait till they hire chief of police.
Well, what he's asking is that we
Temporary use Charlie Meyer.
acting chief to sit in that spot. So,
That's appropriate. I mean, that's, in the past, when the chief of police at Troy had retired, has it rolled over
Yeah.
to the new people?
Mhm.
And it was done through appointment.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Okay.
If y'all don't have anything else on that, the second item is an FMLA request from the Revenue Commissioner. I would like to possibly suspend the rules, or we can let this go down to current business. We've not received the doctor's excuse yet. We thought we'd receive it, the appointment's not till tomorrow. So we can let that roll down, where I thought that we would just suspend the rules until we get that information to be sure it meets the criteria for it.
Question. Why not, since you said the appointment is not until tomorrow, why not as the commission vote, let the administrator and the chairman use their discretion to find out exactly what's happened and go ahead and put it in?
We can do that, or do it pending that, the correct
correct, yeah.
excuse is provided.
Right.
When it comes to suspend the rules, you need to approve that.
Right. Mhm.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can do that, which you choose, that's no problem. For any more questions on that, the third item, I had been contacted by Mr. Adam Carson with Lockheed Martin, and he is asking to come to the next scheduled meeting in December for an additional abatement request. I think it's actually an abatement extension, because they've not been able to get started on something that they thought they would get started on. He does not have the information to send those new sheets, or I would have put it in your package. I don't have that yet. But just so you know, he'll be coming, and as soon as I get that information from him, I will email it out so that you can have a copy of it. So that will just roll down to our current business. There won't need to be any action on it tonight. And then the last item would be, it's not on your agenda, but it is Judge Quillen that came in and asked for that whole book, the approval of that contract. And like you said, we'll have to turn around once that's approved, and we can purchase it. He's already gotten the HAVA paperwork done, and I believe there's a check over there already for that, so if y'all want to go ahead and suspend the rules and vote on that.
I mean, would it bother anybody to get that done if they've got a check needs running through the bank with the poll books tonight? Would y'all want to let that roll over and her hold that check for 2 more weeks?
Let's suspend the rule and go ahead and do it.
Okay.
That's all under my report. Under current business, we will, as TCU requested, have the two items under the jail. Would be one motion to go from the design phase to the construction documents phase for the jail and judicial center, correct me if I'm wrong.
That's perfect.
Okay, and then for the EMA to approve going from the schematic design into the design development.
Miss- Mr. Chairman, I want to go back up to the Lockheed Martin thing, and I'm gonna finish stick my foot in my mouth. You know, I've been there 28 years, and they never come to us until they get ready for an abatement. But they go to the city of Troy and meet with the city of Troy and everything. Troy don't run there, so they have to come to us. It's time for they to start recognizing us more than they do. You know, I'm just, you know, those things got to happen. We are the legislative body of this county, and we control the outside of this county. We don't control inside the city. But they don't come to us until they get ready for an abatement. They invite us up there and then get ready for an abatement like we some step youngins or something. I'm tired of that. Invite us when they're not having those things, like they do the city of Troy. You know? And I lay that on all those commissioners. We need to let them know that. Invite them down here and let them know that. So I stuck my foot in my mouth.
Okay. Anybody have anything further for the administrator?
I do, I have one more item under current business.
Okay.
Under the item number 10, the resolution and agreement for the Secretary of State for the postage costs for the election list to be done. That is in your package. I believe you had it the last time, but it can be voted on tonight if you also choose to do so. All right.
Thank you, ma'am. So we have nothing further. We will close the work session and at 6 p.m. open the regular business meeting. We are adjourned. Meet back 5 minutes.
Oh, I thought you said McKinney, sorry.
Look at him. I heard that. They renovate up on the crew.
Chad, they put a great
Generate on the
No, I'm talking about the When did that come in?
It's just been part of the discussion. It is just sitting out there as a placeholder so we don't forget it. Y'all have not voted on it. There's no money around to it. And it's just sitting out there. See, all these people moving out there. So what do you do with that space? So we just put a placeholder. And that was us. That wasn't even us.
I'm just wondering,
No, you're exactly right. It's a placeholder that we stuck in there, just like we stuck in. If you remember, we didn't know whether there was going to be a big traffic light required and new entrance to this facility and all that sort of stuff. We just had what I call placeholders so that we don't forget it. But it would have to come to y'all.
And they're down on one building.
Yep.
I don't want it. I don't want it.
Between me and you? You need to look at it hard. How about that?
What you mean, hard?
I mean, you need to ask, not now because we're not far enough along, but when we come back and we move from schematic design to design development, just like we did with the jail today, you need to ask some questions and I'll help you ask those questions. Because this is the same size facility that's being built in Montgomery, being built in Huntsville. And I mean, Pike County's a growing place, but it ain't that big.
No, it ain't that big.
And we're designing it as if you're bigger than you are. How about that?
And then it's gonna cost about $10 million.
No, I don't think so. I think the construction is probably $4 million because it's a very simple. It's just a square. It's a box. But I mean, it's got stuff in there that you might need, but you had never had it before, and you've worked out just fine. Now, where I think the savings is, and what I don't know the answer to is there a savings in personnel costs because they're all together? We're eliminating the duplication of operations.
Operational expenses.
Yes, sir.
And I know some people don't like that.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
They don't like it.
But it's what you've got to do since you don't have money for operation. And so if that is in fact true, then it's probably a pretty good idea. But if it's not true, and it's just putting new people in the same.
It's the same thing I just said about Lockheed Martin.
Yep.
Troy gonna try to control every damn thing. This might be my last 4 years, but I can't take it no more.
Gotta hang around till we get all this crap finished.
No, I'm gone.
No, you gotta hang around. You're the voice of reason down here.
I'm getting about it. I think I'm getting about it.
Well, on the EMA, the question needs to be asked, are the operational savings by consolidating this, what? And will that pay the debt service? And is everybody contributing?
I see my buddy back there telling me he need to come up and speak.
Hey, Percy.
Yeah. He ain't been too soon. He ain't been coming. What's wrong with him?
He's been sick.
Oh, he been sick?
Y'all don't need us.
No, we don't need y'all no more.
He said you were ignored.
That's right. Oh, you could have come here just now too. You know, see you. Don't want to come up. Ain't been down.
He works for Lockheed Martin.
You know, that's true.
It is the truth. They took advantage of my construction company years and years ago, and I just said, the hell with y'all, we ain't working with y'all.
Give me some respect. Bulldog, you know, treat me like a bulldog. You know, they don't do that.
This is in the county. They don't send the service.
I ain't got to work for nobody. Transportation. Rob, I got the call. Good to see you. I never seen you. I told him something. I told him the same thing. He's been hiding. They let him out. They let him out of jail. I hope they get back to Lockheed. Mackenzie. I hope they get back to Lockheed.
Back to Lockheed?
Yeah.
It probably.
I hope so. I hope they get back. Russell. Oh. They were trying to slip that removal and then the courthouse scene on us. You see that? Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and he been on the line. I saw that. Trying to slip it in on. Nobody, Ain't nobody discussed it.
Probably, that could do it.
And then, it's gonna be bigger than the one in Montgomery, and all those counties. These larger ones. And he's gonna, and guess who's gonna control it? See, that's true. Yep.
But he's now wanted
Yep.
on the city payroll, eh? Yep.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay, if, it's time to, 6 p.m., it's time to start the regular meeting, if I could, ask Commissioner Copeland to lead us in prayer.
Sure, let's go. Lord, we thank you for today. We thank you for this wonderful community that we live in, Lord. We ask for your continued blessings on, Lord, as we deliberate and make decisions that will affect the citizens of Pike County. We ask for your wisdom in those decisions. And we ask all this in Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic from which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could start with the, let the minutes show that all commissioners but Chairman Sullivan are present tonight. Need an approval of the last meeting's minutes.
So,
Have a motion by Commissioner Wright and a second by Commissioner Barron. All in favor? Aye. So moved. And approval for the claims. Motion by Commissioner Copeland, second by Commissioner Harris. All in favor? Right. Engineers report.
Mr. Chairman, the only items that we have requiring action tonight are 2 personnel requests. We have the recommendation for the 3 hires, and then also the request for permission to advertise in-house for the engineer.
We need to do that in 2 motions, Mackenzie? Can we do it in one? Motion for the 3 hires and the advertisings. I need a motion for approve the 3 hiring recommendations. All right. Motion by Commissioner Barron.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor? Any opposed?
And then we also did have the vacation of 1159 on our request. We want to handle it now.
Mr. Allen, you have anything further?
It's ready for your consideration.
All right, this time I'll need to pass the chairmanship to the senior-most member of the commission for this issue.
That's correct.
If Commissioner Harris would be willing to do that for me.
We have a vacation of road, County Road 1159. We had the public hearing. Now it's ready for a motion at the table. Do I have a motion to
So moved.
have a motion? Do I have a second?
second.
Do I have a second by Mr. Cope? All in favor? Roll call vote. Mhm.
Yes.
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 Yes. Motion carried.
Thank you, sir. Do you have anything else? I do want to ask, and I know you're working on it, but as you see, especially like these potential matches and stuff on the ER bridge issues, if you know, we had looked at next year's paving budget, and it was in the paper, and people kind of know if soon as you can, if there's going to be changes have to be made to that due to the Hurricane Sally damages. I mean, please let us know so we can all let our folks know, and nobody will get caught unawares. I'd appreciate that.
While you're on that topic, I will mention too, that we're going to turn in our Rebuild Alabama application tomorrow that you mentioned previously for the Goshen Elementary School. And that, the maximum amount of that grant will be $250,000. Our cost estimate is, I don't have the exact number in front of me, it's over $300,000. So there will be a match associated with that too. And we have to get part of that money you're referring to help with that if we're awarded.
Yeah, that's what I was going to add. I know a lot of things, a lot of moving parts in this too, but now that the cooler time and then plus the money that we allocated out of the budget, there's a lot of things that, anyways, we need to sit down and talk when we put that down. So my understanding of our, correct me with the right name, the transportation plan, repaving plan,
CTP.
it's really just for the new tax, correct? Or
Yes.
did we-
That is only for the CRAF fund and the FATF fund.
So it might be something extra, but exactly what, Commissioner Johnson said, so all the commissioners would come and agree and see what's coming up. The good thing that comes with paving a lot of roads is a lot of pressure to pave other roads.
Right.
I'm getting a nod right now for one, so
We made a showing this year and generated a lot of interest.
that's right. It's a good problem to have.
Well, I want you to know, and I'm just, Mr. Allen and I were in a meeting today about this vacation on a conference call, and at the end of it, you were giving a compliment, and so was the road department, about some people who'd been doing a lot of touring of the county, and they were very pleased at the progress they were seeing y'all get done. I know it's not often you're told that, so pass that along to your people. I'm going to ask you one other thing, because I've been meaning to ask it for several weeks. Commissioner Copeland and I, several weeks ago, went to a volunteer fire association meeting, and some of the things that came up. Is the road department as a group, do y'all do any chainsaw safety type training or class or anything? And the reason I ask that, and I want you to think about this and get something back to us as a body, we were thinking it came up about the storms. We were talking about ways, interoperability, things we did it, and I just thanked them because they were all up and down my road too during the last storm. And when we started talking about training opportunities, it just hit me doing what I do for a living. I asked them, I said, as a volunteer fire department, how much chainsaw safety stuff do you do? Because you're out every time we have a storm, helping clear these roads, and they're not doing any. And I'm going to get up with somebody at the REA, but the more we talked about it that night, I'd like to have some kind of I don't know if it's you and somebody with the REA come to the next one of their board meetings, but that we could have a more pointed discussion about when a storm hits, here's how you need to communicate to us, here's how we're going to communicate to you. Maybe the REA give them a little more guidance about dealing with down lines and how to report that. But between either you or the REA, I'd like to get them set up to do something like some chainsaw safety classes, so when they're out clearing these roads after storms, that they're a little more prepared for that, if you think that's something you could help guide us on.
I'd like to say something about
Well,
that.
they had that training.
You should look into that,
They-
definitely.
They had that training in New Verne about a year ago, wasn't it, 2 years ago?
Who sponsored it?
I think ACCA.
ACCA sponsored. Sorry.
Commission, the forestry.
State Park,
Mhm.
now it's State Park, we go on our,
To say,
Okay.
That'd be good. We've done some in-house training, but we don't have anybody who's a certified instructor.
Well, at the more that really just started as a thank y'all for doing that, and it turned into, well, how do we do it better and how do we report some things? And when we find out when that next association meeting is, I'd like you to go to it, and we could kind of start a dialogue about how to relay information. I've got this open, I need help, this is something we're not comfortable doing, you know what I mean, and get that a little finer tuned. I think it'd be a good opportunity to set up a precedent.
a lot of the volunteer fire department don't want to get off their butt and do anything. I tried to get them to get a permit, grant, to send all of their peoples to school, because, they would go get it from RC&D. Then the souls fill out their application.
Well, that's something we at least need to attempt to do, because that's something they're out doing, and usually when they're doing it, the conditions are not opportune and right for somebody to get hurt.
One of the, to your point, one of the things we might want to do is make sure the association president and vice president stuff know, because they've been putting together a lot of training. And I didn't think.
Well,
about
you know who was the one back then when I tried to get people.
And now they've applied, matter of fact, today, they're working on, I know I talked to Kenzie, they're working on some stuff that would fit under the COVID grant, that we've got outstanding now, some equipment, so some of that might
Might stop.
change. And I never even thought about asking for training, I know some of them applied for equipment under RCD, but you're right, that training fits under it too.
Yeah.
It wouldn't hurt to reach out to them to see
Yep.
what we can do.
So we've been to probably 6 or 7 of their meetings over the last year or two.
Anything further for the engineer?
That's all we have.
Thank you, sir. EMA Director? Thank you, sir. Attorney? Once again, at the end of this business meeting, we will take a motion to retire into executive session for a moment. Administrator, sir, yes, sir.
One thing, Commissioner, I sent all y'all that draft for the legislative priorities. Next week, I think December 3rd, I think it's next week, is when I go to Montgomery to vote on that. So if you got any comments or issues or things within that.
Any other commissioner have anything to report?
Don't that go to be the see, we be voting on 2021, what's gonna happen. They having a meeting, or they just go do
So the way they set it up this time, usually this is where everybody goes.
Right.
But what they've asked this time is they're only, it's only for the legislative committee members, state board members, and there's one other group I can't remember. And so that's why I'm pushing a little harder for feedback, because you won't be there this time. And then it'll be ratified by the board, I think, in January, if I remember that right. Which is the same process we always go through, just the only difference is this legislative conference will only, it'll be limited to things like 70 days.
Nothing further from another commissioner. We'll move to the administrator's report.
Okay, the first item is going to be under the E911 board appointment. I feel like I say too many ones when I say that, I don't know why. So, that's going to be first. There's 2 items on there. One that I realized that will roll down to current business, which will be the appointments that come up in January, and we'll look at doing those either the first or the second meeting in December to be effective January 1. But the item tonight that I'm asking for suspension of the rule is based on the request from the city manager, Mr. Willie Wright, because of most Davenport not being reappointed, to the chief of police in Brundage to appoint the interim chief of police, Mr. Lieutenant Charles Mack Wilson, to the 911 board until a replacement for that position can be made by the city of Brundage. At that time, we'll come back with another name.
Have a motion to suspend the rules. Motion by Commissioner Barron,
Second?
second by Commissioner Copeland. Roll call vote.
yes.
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 All right. Now I need a motion to
Mr. Chairman,
approve.
I make the motion that we approve the city manager's request
Have a motion.
to Lieutenant Charles Wilson on the 911 board.
Have a motion by Commissioner Barron,
Second.
second by Commissioner Wright. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
The next item is the FMLA request from the Revenue Commissioner's Office. could suspend the rules and vote on this pending a doctor's excuse that would be needed to,
Grant the
rest
FMLA.
ballot, or we can wait until the next commission meeting and do it retroactive to the
Let-
date that he first got sick.
If anybody doesn't have a problem with doing this, being.
I make a motion that we let the chairman and the administrator take care of this action after tomorrow from the doctor, excuse me, when she come back.
I have a motion to deal with it after the doctor's excuse.
You need to suspend the rules.
All right, I need a motion to suspend the rules.
Make a motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Wright, second from Commissioner Barron. A roll call vote?
Yes.
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 Motion to deal with FMLA request pending doctor's excuse.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Wright,
Aye.
second by Commissioner Barron. All in favor? Aye. No opposed. Okay.
Okay, the next item will be the Lockheed Martin abatement request, and I do ask that we roll that down to current business until we get all the needed information from them. There's no questions on that. The extra item that was on the original agenda would be the poll book contracts. If you would like to go ahead and suspend the rules and approve that contract so that we can move forward with depositing the check and being able to.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Barron.
It's already on the current business.
Yeah, we voted on the first set of it, and and it came off and rolled back up, so.
So it was on the agenda before, all they had to do is roll back. on.
Prior to the election.
It was a different contract.
Different contract.
That was a separate contract than this one.
So I'm assuming his issue is that on some of these dual precincts, you've got to have dual poll books.
That's my
Right.
understanding. That's part of why he needed to do that.
Make a motion to suspend the rule.
Have a motion by Commissioner Harris, second by Commissioner Barron. All in roll call vote?
Yes.
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 All commissioners in favor. Motion to accept the probate office poll book grant. Motion by Commissioner Barron,
Second.
second by Commissioner Harris. All in favor? Aye. Motion granted.
Okay, the next item we're gonna have is gonna be under, current business, under item number 3, jail. There are 2 items. The first will be, to move from design to construction documents for the jail and judicial complex.
I'll put that in motion, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion from Commissioner Barron,
Second.
second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
One.
1.
2.
Okay. And 3 to 2.
Two opposed?
Okay, the next item will be for the 911 EMA building for the judicial complex and jail. To approve to go from schematic to design development.
I need that in a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Copeland,
Second.
second by Commissioner Barron. All in favor?
Question.
Yep.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, either Administrator, Mr. Jones, I want to know when I asked the question about the remodeling of the old courthouse, I want to know how that get involved and how did that get a question in there? You know, I want to know.
We need to talk about that, I mean, because we
Yeah,
have not
of course,
talked about that.
it's in that
Any
design,
vote.
it's in that design, see,
But,
and I want to know.
But now this is.
but we are, this is on the EMA building, this is not on that. But that is something I think we need to get Ken in person to come back down here and meet with us about.
Yeah. Mhm.
And with y'all's permission, I'll set that up tomorrow.
But that's when he mentioned it, when the EMA building come in, that's when he mentioned it.
No.
If I'm not
He mentioned it,
mistaken.
no. All they're asking us to do is go from schematic design to design development on the
Right,
EMA,
mhm.
not approving any monetary amount.
No money at all.
And in that original book he gave us, and I don't disagree because we haven't approved any of that.
Mhm.
Not sure that we ever will, but in that original booklet that we got, where he line itemed all his stuff that we've been going off of since, I guess, the first booklet he gave us, that has been a line item.
But I understand that, but I was wondering how it got put in there, that line item.
I think it started out in there, because in the beginning, we need to ask him that, but my only answer I'd have tonight is the first bunch of stuff they did was looking at trying to tie into the original building, and then that didn't work out, and it just never came out, would be my thought. We need to ask him that directly.
Okay, question.
Can I have on the floor is the going from schematic design to design development on the 911 building. Motion by Commissioner Barron. Second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor? Aye.
No.
Any opposed?
No.
4-1. Motion granted.
Okay, if there's not any more discussion on that, we will move down to, item number 10 under current business, resolution and agreement with Secretary of State for the postage cost.
Yes.
So,
Motion by Commissioner Wright. Second by Commissioner Barron. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion granted.
Next will be the motion to go into executive session for the amount of time that we've got.
10-minute stops.
Put in those motions on this.
Motion by Commissioner Barron.
10 minutes.
Yep. I think it'll take long. Have a motion. Can I have a second? Second by Commissioner Copeland. All in favor? Roll call vote. I apologize.
yes.
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 We will
Mr. Chairman,
adjourn for 10 minutes.
I make a motion that we adjourn now, we have to come back in to
Close the meeting.
close the meeting.
Is that acceptable? I have a motion to, receive a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Got a second? All in favor?
Question, Tony.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure, so I understand what we're doing. So we're going to adjourn the meeting and then go into executive session.
But there will be no decision made on anything. We just need to apprise some people of the
Basically,
situation.
what Commissioner Harris is moving to do is just adjourn your meeting, and then you're going to have a meeting,
And go
but
on.
not deliberate. I mean, you're going to have a meeting, but I'm trying to think, to meet the Open Meetings Act,
We gotta come back in
you
here and adjourn.
gotta do a executive session,
Then come back and vote.
right?
No, you can't.
Yeah.
So I
Repeat,
understand your idea.
We
repeat that, Alan.
Huh?
Repeat that when you